Hello everyone, Daria here, and welcome to episode number 45 of the Slow Russian Language Podcast. It's a Maslenitsa week in Russia, this famous Russian holiday, and again, for the second time, I'm gonna make a short episode about Maslenitsa. If you're new here and want to know more about this holiday, you can go to episode number 12. Happy Maslenitsa, because last year I already told something about this holiday. Today's text will be very short because I'm still in Omsk, and again, I'm saying that it's very, very noisy here from outside of the window. Of course, you don't hear anything because I spent a couple of hours cutting all the noises out from the audio. So let me read the short text in slow Russian, and after that I will translate it in English. Here we go. В русской культуре до сих пор остались некоторые языческие праздники. Масленица – один из них. Этот праздник символизирует начало весны. Как мы отмечаем Масленицу? Я, например, пеку блины. Рецепт очень простой. Нужно только молоко, вода, мука, яйца, сахар и соль. В масленичную неделю блины – самый вкусный завтрак. That was it for the short text. Now let's try to translate it, starting with the first sentence. В русской культуре до сих пор остались некоторые языческие праздники. There are still some pagan holidays in the Russian culture. I hope you remember the adjective языческий means pagan, and it is formed from the noun язычество. Язычество. It's a religion that was in Russia before Christianity, with many, many gods of nature. Язычество. And this holiday, Масленица, is a pagan holiday. Языческий праздник. Also, you can meet this word speaking about customs, traditions. For example, языческий обряд. Языческая традиция. So that's what we had before Christianity. And the next sentence. Масленица – один из них. Масленица is one of them. Here, what's interesting? You see, Масленица is feminine. Она – Масленица. Веселая Масленица. Or maybe наступила Масленица. So we hear it's feminine. There is a in the ending. But in this sentence, you see, Масленица один из них. Масленица is one of them. Один, masculine. This happens because in the previous sentence, we were speaking about holidays, праздники, and the word праздник is masculine. So here the full sentence is Масленица is one of these holidays. Масленица один из этих праздников. Another example with this switching of genders. For example, Moscow, Москва. Москва is feminine. Красивая Москва, beautiful Moscow. Or ночная Москва, night Moscow. Or maybe старая Москва, old Moscow. But in a situation like this one in the text, Moscow can turn to masculine. For example, there are many big cities in Russia, and Moscow is one of them. In Russian it would be «В России много больших городов, и Москва один из них». So it's not одна из них, because here we're speaking about город, masculine, city. Город. Один из городов. I'm sorry if it sounds too complicated, but that's what we have in the Russian language. Okay, the next sentence. Этот праздник символизирует начало весны. This holiday symbolizes the beginning of spring. We talked about the word символизировать, to symbolize, before, so let's not linger on here. The next sentence. Как мы отмечаем Масленицу? How do we celebrate Масленица? And again, we met the verb отмечать many times before, and it means to celebrate. For example, to celebrate New Year, отмечать Новый год. Or maybe birthday, отмечать день рождения. The synonym is праздновать. Праздновать Масленицу, to celebrate Масленица. The next sentence. Я, например, пеку блины. For example, I fry pancakes. Here you see in English I used the verb to fry. In Russian it's жарить. And of course you can say жарить блины because you actually do fry them on the frying pan. But in Russia we also can use the verb печь блины. And печь means to bake. For example, печь хлеб, to bake some bread. Я пеку хлеб, I'm baking bread. Or maybe cake, печь торт. And also the pancakes. So the process is frying, but for some reason we use baking, печь. The next sentence. Рецепт очень простой. The recipe is very simple. Нужно только молоко, вода, мука, яйца, сахар и соль. You only need milk, water, flour, eggs, sugar, and salt. And you mix it all together and, fry pancakes. And the next sentence. В масленичную неделю блины – самый вкусный завтрак. During the Maslenitsa week, pancakes is the best breakfast. You see the adjective масленичная. So the noun is Масленица and the adjective масленичная. Same with the New Year, Новый год, новогодняя. Or Christmas, Рождество, рождественская. So you just make an adjective out of it. And now I will read this text one more time, faster, so try to understand it. В русской культуре до сих пор остались некоторые языческие праздники. Масленица – один из них. Этот праздник символизирует начало весны. Как мы отмечаем Масленицу? Я, например, пеку блины. Рецепт очень простой. Нужно только молоко, вода, мука, яйца, сахар и соль. В масленичную неделю блины – самый вкусный завтрак. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this short text. If you have any questions, you can always ask them. realrussianclub@gmail.com. And what else? I'm still in Siberia, Omsk. and going back to Moscow only in the beginning of March. So I guess next week I won't be able to upload anything new, and only when I come back to Moscow. But I also have some good news. I'm almost finished my TPRS speaking course. I've been working on it like for a year or something, and it's just mind-blowing how difficult it is. So the good news is that in March I will finally put it on my website. The bad news is that the price might be pretty high, but we'll see. We'll see in March. And what else for today? First, thank you very much for your attention and for all the nice words I receive on my email every day. And don't forget that if you have any ideas, any requests, you can always tell me about that. Maybe you want to learn more about some famous Russian person or about some, I don't know, everyday facts about Russia. Anything. And I guess that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next episode of the Slow Russian Language Podcast. Bye-bye!